invite you, wherever you are, to take a few deep breaths. As deep as you can, as deep as is comfortable. To stabilize as we move into a high energy dialogue. About the astrology of the end of 2021, heading into 2022. This next few weeks, today is December 14th, 2021, are so full, are so energetic. I've been studying them for the past few months, and every time I go into them, I get more and more excited about what's happening. So first, I will say that my name is Maimonu, and I am a soul in progress who also happens to know some things about astrology, and this is a talk about astrology. So the place to begin after the breath is to acknowledge the ways that as a collective we have made it to this moment in time. Through a challenging year, a challenging 2 years, couple of years, few years, for some of us challenging lives. And so I first want to bring that forward. Like, okay, we're here. We're here. We're here. And the earth is loving us. And the stars, the universe is on our side, which is a relief. Beginning December 19th, Venus stations retrograde in Capricorn. And on the day, it stations retrograde on a full moon in Gemini. And the day it stations retrograde, it will, yes, Gemini. The day it stations retrograde, it will be in conjunction with Pluto. So it's going to get this infusion, not only of the winds, which have announced themselves that they will be present, but also Pluto. So that's the first thing that's happening. Then on the 21st, we have an expansive December solstice on 12, 21, 21, 3, 3, 3. So we're expanding. And to me, I think when I think about the number 3, I think about harmony and also the stable foundation of that triangle, which allows for expansion and building to happen from a place of strength and solidity. Then on the 23rd, which is, to me, I mean, is there a star of the show? If there was a star of the show, it would be this transit, this aspect of Uranus in Taurus squaring Saturn in Aquarius for the third and final time this year. And to me, this is the the main energy that we've been working with throughout 2021, and to me also into early 22, because it's been it's spanned the whole year. It's been three exact squares where this energy has really opened, and we've been with it. And so that's also happening on the 23rd. And then there's also on the 28th of December, Jupiter moves back into Pisces. So that's present as well. And there's also in early 22 a Mercury retrograde that the date is escaping me. The date coming is January 14th. So January 14th, a retrograde. January 14th through February 4th, Mercury will station retrograde. So there is so much happening. And what keeps coming, what I keep the words that keep coming in my head is the eye of the needle. Like it feels as if we are passing through the eye of the needle as a collective, and we are getting ready. We are getting ready. We are being readied. So those are the aspects that are live that I'm going to focus on. Of course, there's so much more. There are the lunations, but I'm going to focus on those last few that I just mentioned. And I'm going to start with the Uranus-Saturn square, because to me it is collective changing. And I think that we will be integrating this square for a while. So where to begin? Saturn. So Saturn is currently in Aquarius, and Saturn is, I want to take a moment just to articulate that what I'm sharing is from my own experience and my own intuitions, my own meditations. I am not going to claim to be an astrology expert. I am really experienced. I'm experienced in astrology, and my astrology is very intuitive, so that's where my expertise is. So I'll say that my expertise is in intuitive astrology, an astrology that I've kind of gathered and absorbed over the last decade and a half or so of engaging with the stars the ways that I do. So I won't speak for the entirety of the astrology community. So Saturn is the bones, the structure. It is the grandmothers. So Saturn is the energy of the lineage and the ways the lineage holds knowledge, holds wisdom, holds the technologies that the young will need to carry on the lineage, to carry on the traditions, the customs. So when working with Saturn energy, for me there is an energy of initiation, an energy of being called over to the grown folks table, the energy of what is your role in this lineage. And when Saturn is well, there are elders around that can guide the young, so that they know what their role is and that they have a space to go to when they feel overwhelmed or confused or resistant. They have a circle of elders and wise ones who can support them. Saturn, I think there is something about Saturn that inherently calls into question change, because, and the tension of change and time, because as the elders and the young folks in this kind of intergenerational relationship engage, they change each other. So the customs of the elders will change because the young change them. And that's how change happens. That's how it goes. I think, yes, thinking about any intergenerational relationship, there is often this kind of sometimes friction or tension between what the young and the elders and the old are really, how they come together and how they see reality can be very different at times. And so, and not necessarily always in friction, but I think there is in Saturn a kind of inherent question of, what do I change from what I have been taught by my elders, by my guardians, my parents, my ancestors? What am I going to bring forward and carry through? So for me, that is that's Saturn. And there are more ways to discuss Saturn, but for me, that's really the core of Saturn, the marrow. So when Saturn is in Aquarius, Aquarius is ruled by Uranus and brings us into the energy of change, of liberation. And so when Saturn is in Aquarius, this tension between what do I change, what of the tradition needs to change, and what do I keep, what do I bring through, what do I preserve in a way, the tension is even more elevated. And in particular, because there is this Uranian energy coming through with Saturn being in the sign of Uranus, Aquarius, and Saturn being in square to Uranus itself in Taurus, the tension around this feels almost like it feels high stakes, and it is high stakes. The choices that we are making right now, the choices that individuals are making right now will have consequences. There will be implications that will unfold. And this is, of course, all decisions have consequences, all actions have consequences. In particular, the energy is up, is pretty high. And to me, what it feels like is there are multiple versions of reality that we can step into at any time. When I've been working with myself around what is the next step for me, I have felt as if there isn't one path or one sense of destiny for me. What it actually feels like is, as I change, it's almost like I'm holding, shifting, and changing puzzle pieces. So as I'm trying to figure out the puzzle of what is next, I'm holding these puzzle pieces that are changing and shape-shifting as I change, as I shape-shift, and as the entire world changes and shape-shifts. That can make it a little hard to plan. It's an energy. It's raining. I think I'm gonna keep going because the rains here tend to move by pretty quickly. change. So the change comes. It rains down, like it's raining down from the heavens, change. And what can happen? Like when you are caught by surprise, when it starts to rain, is an immediate instinct to tense and run to what you know and what feels more safe or more comfortable. And what this year has been holding for me, and I think also for others as well, is this practice, this like constant practice around how, like, what do you do when the unexpected arrives? When there is no clear plan, when there is not a clear sense of what is in the next moment. And so this year has been showing and educating the collective on, I think, one, how we as individuals engage change, engage the unexpected. And what it's been preparing us for is to be able to engage the unexpected from a place of solidity, from a place of openness, from a place of expansion, from a place of, yes, I receive this because I trust the goodness of the universe and what it is offering me in this moment. Even if this is not exactly what I might have planned for, or even if this might be really upsetting, that there is a goodness at work here that is helping me to become myself. Is helping me to become free. Uranus is all about liberation. Liberation demands change, demands a lot of courage. So I think this is also a time when we are being tested. Our courage is being tested. Like, just how courageous are you? And how committed are you to being free? When Uranus meets Saturn, as it's meeting it in this kind of double whammy way, where it's meeting it Saturn in Aquarius, and then Saturn in Aquarius squaring Uranus in Taurus, the society and the collective peers are also present. And there is a sense of, or a question around, like, just how attached are you to people who are no longer in your vibration, people who are no longer on your path? How attached are you? And these are questions that have been coming up for me. And so some of the questions that have been coming up are, how attached am I to my body, my skin, appearance? How attached am I to seeming sane? That's a big one. I think a lot of people are going to be in this place where they are perceiving more and more of the more subtle aspects of our multidimensional realities, and they might have to ask themselves just how much they care about seeming sane. To who? So there is a question, especially with Aquarius, around who are my people? Where do I find my community? And with Saturn and Aquarius squaring that Uranus and Taurus, we are changing rapidly. Our communities are changing rapidly. This is a time of communities coming together, breaking apart, changing and morphing and mushrooming and just becoming different as people begin to really align with who and what, especially values with Taurus, which we'll get into in a second. But who and what is really aligned with them and aligned with their vision for themselves, aligned with their sense of what freedom is and what they want for themselves in their lives. People want different things. And we are really, and this I think really began, the lockdown, the first lockdown in March 2020 happened 2 days after Saturn moved into Aquarius. And immediately what happened? Who's in my bubble? And we had to really begin to be very clear about who we shared our energy with, shared air with, like our literal breath. Like, who were we willing to breathe? So this work has been with us for basically as soon as Saturn moved into Aquarius. So this work of who do I want to be breathing in? Who do I trust to be breathing in? Who do I want to be in my energy? Who is aligned with me? These are very important questions as we move into this final square. And these questions around, am I willing to do the work of shifting and changing so that I can head towards my people? And some of that work will be times of aloneness. And I think for a lot of people, this Saturn in Aquarius has been defined by being alone and the challenges that come with that, the gifts that come with that. And those folks that have been really alone have been getting, perhaps if they've been like with the energy, have been getting an opportunity to get to know themselves. And as they get to know themselves, when they return or when they're ready to engage community again, they can be much more clear, Saturn, much more specific, much more focused. So Saturn focuses us. We're no longer the children that get to just like run around and play and like when the grandmothers call out your name, this is your work. This is what you need to do. This is where you need to be. Saturn focuses. So we can also think about Saturn in Aquarius as we are focusing in on our divine originality, our uniqueness, and also the community that helps us to be more fully in our uniqueness and our unique vibration. We're clarifying, like, what's my frequency? What's my frequency? What's my uniqueness that I bring to this table, that I bring to this community that no one else can bring? And so I think Saturn in Aquarius is also that focus in on what not only, raises your vibration, but also what the specialness of you. And this is a great place to bring in that Uranus and Taurus energy, because Taurus is the place where we are just like, when Taurus is well, it is acceptance of who we are. Like, oh, this is just who I am. Oh, I'm enough. I'm enough. I'm worthy. I'm valuable. Like, why? Because I exist. because I am a miracle. I am a literal galaxy held inside of an earth vessel. And not just me, but like all these humans are very special, very unique. So with Uranus and Taurus, so for sure, as this transit was in its earlier days and earlier this year, there is a lot that is coming up around the ways that insecurity, so Taurus also deals with like material security, but security in self, emotional security, so security, the ways that insecurity creates blockages, creates obstacles to stepping into your song. Taurus rules over the throat. Your song, like your place in the chorus, your song, what is it? And when Uranus is in Taurus, because Uranus, it creates this, like, especially in Taurus, to know your own song has become irresistible. To be in your own vibration is deeply pleasurable right now. Getting there might be hard, might be challenging, might force us to grapple with low self-worth, low self-esteem. Doesn't matter what we do out in the world. That there might be these places in us where we are grappling with self-hatred, where we don't feel self-love, where we feel doubt, where we're not sure about whether or not the universe loves us, whether or not we are guided, whether or not our well ancestors are around us. So there is doubt to grapple with. Because when Taurus is well, they're just like, I'm good, like the universe is loving me for being me. That is powerful, powerful energy. Because once that is there, that foundation is there. And Taurus is pretty early on in the as we move through the signs. So it's like, that's foundation. I am enough. I am worthy. I am valuable. I know my song, and I'm not afraid to sing it. So Uranus and Taurus, what's your song? Are you singing it? Are you willing to sing it? Are you brave enough to sing it? Because where Uranus is, we're going to need bravery. We're going to need courage. And the rewards of Uranus is that we are singing, that we are tapping into deep reservoirs of joy, of freedom, of peace, of love, of liberation, that we are becoming ourselves, which for many people, for me, is such a big part of like my tensions and my frictions. It's like, who am I? Who am I? Who am I? And as I've put down the question of who am I and just started to be myself, things have started to change and come together in ways that are really miraculous. And I'm beginning to tap into my song. And it doesn't take it hasn't taken like a ton of work. It has, and there is also a way where a lot of the work was to stop doing so much. And so I think this also is that Saturn and Aquarius energy. So sometimes when Saturn is involved, and also the Earth energy in Taurus, there can be at times, and also these are fixed signs as well, so there can be an overdoing, like a doing too much, impatience, frustration, not allowing, not waiting, not trusting. That's really big. Not trusting. And so with this final square, this is a culmination, a celebration. Celebration is essential for integration. It's a culmination and a celebration for the ways that we as a collective, as individuals, are getting through the hards, the ups, the downs, the challenges are coming into our song. Our song as a collective, the song that the universe is already like hearing and waiting for and loving us toward. Like this song that will raise the entire vibration of the entire universe. And we have a lot of help. There's so much help to help us come into this song. So that's happening as a collective, but then also as individuals, each of us coming into our own song, our own vibration, our own originality, and the ways that in coming into our own originality, and this really will feel very potent in this Venus retrograde, December 19th through January 29th, with that Pluto conjunction, that there may be a very real sense of loss. Because coming into ourselves and truly tapping into our own journeys can be very lonely. And a part of tapping into our spiritual, our soul missions includes leaving people who are no longer on our path and being able to discern who is on our path and who is not, who is for us and who is not. Not to dispose of, not to get into superiority inferiority dynamics, because that is not, we cannot keep that one around. We're gonna have to leave that one. But just to be able to say and reflect, is this person for me? Am I for this person, right? So that Pluto and Venus at the end of the year, it really feels like it's an opportunity to really reflect on what has been lost and what has been gained. Death, rebirth, renewal. So I think that this Venus retrograde can be an incredible opportunity for renewal, and an opportunity for celebration. I want to bring through a few other themes that I was seeing around this Pluto Venus energy. So I think there is that sense of like, how do I sit with the loss of what has been lost as I've become myself, or as I've headed more towards myself in this last year. Certainly, if there are relationships or values or to release, because Venus brings us into money, worth, values, relationships. So if there are any of those things to release, particularly scarcity as well, that's going to come forward pretty strongly. And I don't think that there's a way to necessarily like avoid that. Like, I don't think there's a way to be like, how do I avoid the like hard parts? Because it's our teacher. So really, any of those places where we're still stuck in scarcity, we're still stuck in disempowerment, so self-disempowerment. Pluto is about power. Pluto is about agency. Pluto is like, I'm living my own life. And Saturn and Aquarius is also about, I'm choosing my life. I'm choosing my ways. And that tension of tradition meeting, how do I like live out my original self, or my like originality, not original self. So that Venus and Pluto retrograde, there are a few things that come forward. It could certainly be a time where it feels like there's a need to look back, a need to review. My sense is that is not a helpful energy, that is not a helpful vibration. I'm being guided back to Uranus. So there's something that I need to bring through about Uranus that has not come through yet. Ah! So important! Thank you so much. How could I forget? How could I forget the Earth? Taurus, land, the Earth, the foundation, the body. So, this is, to me, such a sweet, sweet part of this Uranus and Taurus energy. We, and Saturn and Aquarius as well, there is this incredible opportunity, this like rainbow portal that is opening to us to engage the new old technologies of our indigeneity. Yes, you are indigenous to somewhere. Might not be the land you're on, but you are indigenous to somewhere. You have indigeneity. And in your lineage, I have a talking stick now. In your lineage, there are technologies that are so old that when you bring them through, they're gonna feel real new. And that's that Aquarius energy. That like we're bringing things through right now that are like, this is so new. This is so innovative. And our ancestors are like, okay, like this is old, real old. But there's been such a forgetting. Some of that forgetting is forced, of course. Some of that forgetting is very violent. And some of that forgetting is for the sake of survival. And the ancestors, these lineages, these old ancestors are awake. And they know what they need to do. And they are reaching toward us. They're reaching toward you. And I want to be clear that to me the power of this Uranus and Taurus energy is to know that I am enough, and by extension my ancestors are enough, and their medicine is enough for me. There is more nuance, and I think that in engaging ancestor work, it's best to do a little bit of to get guidance in whatever ways aligns with you. But in particular, there are well ancestors in the lineages that are holding tools of that are indigenous. I don't care if you're European. You're indigenous to somewhere. Your ancestors are indigenous to somewhere. Reach back into the lineage. Reach back, reach back, reach back, reach back. So Taurus to me also can hold this energy of, and also Saturn, is this energy of like the foundation, the base, and also the old. Especially Saturn, I feel like pulls us out of time. And with Saturn and Aquarius, like what is time anyway? So we have this incredible opportunity to reach into our own bones, our own marrow, Saturn, and pull out the technology in our marrow, Aquarius, that might seem really new to us, but is actually very old. Taurus, Uranus and Taurus. Where are you indigenous to? Reach into your own lineage. There's power there. There's power in your lineage, in your people. You might have to go pretty far back though. I'll speak a little bit to my ancestor work just to offer a little bit of an example Just one example. So my recent ancestors, so thinking about my recent ancestors, like people that I would have been around when I was young and who died during this lifetime. My recent ancestors are, they are not ready for me to work with them. Some of them are. But when I first got into ancestor work a few years ago, okay. I've had the opportunity okay. So I want to move on to talking about who else was ready to come forward. We talked about the Uranus Saturn square. The land. Back to Uranus and Taurus. Back to that Uranus Saturn square. So the land, the earth, again, Taurus, earth, the body. Not only are the ancestors in our marrow, the well ancestors in our marrow, like, call on me. You better call on me. Ooh. The land is ready. The land has been ready. The land is really ready, though. Like, the land, the earth, the oceanic consciousness, the ocean, the animals, they are like, all right, humans, let's work together. Let's work together to elevate, to ascend this entire planetary consciousness, this entire earth consciousness. Let's raise it up. The land. The land is ready to guide. Leadership in the land. Allowing the land to lead. Allowing the land to the land has a song too. And it is all around us. As we start to come into our own songs, we will be able to hear more and more of the music in the universe. And with Uranus and Taurus, we have this incredible opportunity to really listen to the land. to hear its song. To learn, to be guided, to learn new ways. And so that is also another way of engaging the healing that's available to us right now. Yes, working with the ancestors in the marrow, the trees, the plants, these are our ancestors. So this is another way in to work with the land itself and to engage these ancestors and to listen, to be with them. This is a powerful time to be in nature as much as possible. I think being yeah. Listen for the songs. Listen for the songs. Listen for your own song. Listen for the earth's song. Listen to the song of the ancestors, your ancestors. Their music. Connect with the song and the throat. And breathe. The winds of change are all around. Breathe. That might be the most important thing I have said. Breathe, breathe, breathe. It's pretty windy. It's a pretty windy rainbow. Breathe, 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 and allow that inner wind to kind of ground that outer wind and to guide you toward that rainbow portal. Because it's here. The eye of the needle, the portals of opportunity are here. And it's going to be very difficult to access them without our breath. So of all the things I have said, if there is one thing to take, just take hungrily, just take it, have it, take it, is breathe. This is the time. And the universe will support you in creating a breath practice. However, whatever gets you breathing. It does not need to be sitting and closing your eyes. It doesn't need to be that at all. What are the meditation practices of your lineage? How did your people meditate? Again, it does not have to be what you might believe or have been told meditation is. But just ask your people, how did you get quiet? How did you get still? How did you get yourself into a space where you could hear the songs all around you, and where you could hear your own song? Ask and see what comes, and let your bone, that DNA, just like guide you towards the technologies of your people and how they meditated. Because the way your people meditated may not be the way other people's people meditated. That's okay. They had their own song. That's the most important thing. To breathe. To develop a breath practice. The winds of change are here. Align the inner and external winds. And breathe. That's the most important thing. So, because that's the most important thing right now, this is a great opportunity to breathe. So, draw your attention to your breath as it's moving in on the inhale, out on the exhale, and just take a few breaths, however feels good for you. If you need to stand up so you can breathe, if you need to move into a different position so you can breathe, do that. It's your song. Sing it. Breathe it. So whatever works for you. I have been sitting for a while, so I'm gonna just change the cross of my legs. Just take a moment. Let's just take this collective moment to just breathe. Bring some breath into that low belly area, which can hold a lot of tension. Just breathe into a softening belly. Softening. Softening. Bring attention to the shoulders. Just letting them release down away from the ears. Breathe yourself. Breathe your song. Breathe. Thank you so much for being here. Take the medicine. Take the medicine you need. Thank you so much. Again, my name is Naimonu. I'll put links once I return to the realm of the internet. I will put links somewhere so that you can keep track of me, of updates I might have in the future. And I love you, and I am so glad. I'm so glad you're singing your song. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It liberates me. It liberates me when you sing your song, and I know that it's not always easy. And I'm really grateful. I'm so grateful for the work that you are putting into singing your song. And I hope that you know that I am working for you, and that we are together. We are together working towards freedom and liberation and love and joy and laughter and celebration. I did not talk about all the aspects that I brought forward, but I trust that there are so many awesome people on the internet who are putting out a lot around what's going on at the end of the year. Okay, that's it for me. Bye.